I got shot in the head, got grazed some other places.
Okay, we're going to talk about Puffy. All right, listen to this. It was a guy named Barry Gordy, and you know who Barry Gordy is. Now, I went in the room with Barry Gordy, but everybody knew that Barry Gordy hits both sides of the fence, they always say. So Barry Gordy was the guy who had the Jackson 5, who eventually conned Michael Jackson because Joe Jackson was a Jehovah's Witness, and they say, Michael, you come hang with us, you can get toys. They might got Michael some more than toys. Then there was Quincy Jones with Michael. And you know exactly where I'm going with this. Next thing you know, Michael Jackson, allegedly, they said he started partying with younger boys. So where did Michael Jackson get it?
Suge Knight seems like the type of man who wouldn't miss the opportunity to have Diddy as a cellmate in prison. It's not just because he might want to surprise him in the middle of the night with a sharpened toothbrush, though. That's certainly possible. And it's not just because he might want to give him a swirly in the toilet, although he might want to do that too. More likely, Suge just wants to sell more soap to Diddy to drop in prison. I bet Suge Knight would make a fortune off of Diddy.
But linking all these tragedies, linking them to you, the death of Notorious B.I.G., I guess on paper, would make more sense, given what he was racking up sales on the East Coast.
I mean,
when Biggie left.
One of the things about Biggie, I'm not one of these nutterizers. I think he was talented and he's great.
Did you hate Biggie?
Never one bit. See, one thing you gotta realize me, follow my pattern. I'm a businessman. I figure if in a year or two, Biggie would have been a death row artist because that's how talented he was. And I would have pursued him as an artist because I felt I could have gave him a bigger deal. And I wouldn't have been in his videos. So I think he was an incredible artist. Just think, Tupac and Biggie, and there was no real feud. They might have had words before, but I know I could have molded them back to being great friends.
Old interviews with Suge Knight have surfaced, suggesting that he had nothing to do with the murder of Biggie, and that Diddy was allegedly behind it all.
Suspects or motive in the murder of rapper and actor Tupac Shakur, who died last Friday the 13th after being gunned down in a drive-by following the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon boxing match September 7th. Meanwhile, on Thursday night in Los Angeles, we spoke with Marion Suge Knight, head of Tupac's label Death Row Records, and the man who was driving the car sitting right next to Tupac when he was shot. Knight, who himself was grazed in the head by a bullet, was prevented by his lawyers from addressing the shooting itself. But here, for the first time on television, he speaks publicly about its aftermath.
How are you feeling and how are you doing physically?
I feel like this. I feel that the last word is always God. But Pac saved my life. The reason why I say Pac saved my life, I got shot in the head, got grazed some other places, but I still got the bullet in my head. It's still there. But for is trying to get him to the hospital didn't make me realize that I was shot. Because usually when you get shot in the head, the first thing the person do is panic. You know, bam, I'm shot in the head, I'm about to die. You know. And once you do that, you can't drive nowhere. My whole thing is, he was shot. I'm like, you shot? I'm gonna get you to the hospital. I'm driving, telling him I'm gonna get to the hospital, kick back. Pac looked at me and said, you know what? You need the doctor more than me. You the one shot in your head. And we laughed the whole time going to find out what to the hospital. That's the conversation we had. It wasn't, Pac was a man the whole time. It wasn't that he was like, oh, I'm shot. He cracking jokes. He's like, yeah, they shot me. He said, but you shot in your head. Look at your head bleed. Look how much it's bleed. That was Pac. I'm like, man, shut up, I'm gonna get you to the doctor.
So he was conscious on the way to the hospital?
He was conscious on the way to the hospital. He was conscious in the ambulance. He was conscious after they did the surgery.
What was the last thing that he said to you?
They loved me. We was in, we was going in, we was on the thing that was getting there. I like, Pac, you be the last one left. When we talk, this is how we talking. He said, homie, I'm straight. I love you, homie, I'm gonna be straight. I love you too. That's what it was.
There was a report earlier this week in the New York Post that Tupac was looking to leave Death Row Records. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
You should answer that. You don't take a person like Tupac who, if you listen to every song on All Eyes on Me, every song on Machiavelli, every time he do an interview, what's the first thing he say? Death Row. Tupac loved Death Row. Tupac loved me, I loved him. I mean, Tupac took Death Row to the next level. I mean, we worked hard and we laid the foundation down, and Snoop took the baton, he ran with it, and he did a great job with it. When Tupac got the baton, not only did he win the race, he finished so fast that he was able to sit back and drink some Thug Passion and come up with another plan. I mean, if you'd asked Tupac that question, that was he planning on leaving Death Row, he definitely would have cussed you out.
A lot of people in the hip-hop community have said that this incident will change hip-hop. This is a really landmark event, tragic event at that, and that the music will probably never be the same. Do you see the direction of Death Row changing? Is there going to be a different type of music put out?
Not at all. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing and sell records. Like I said before, my main goal is fulfill Tupac's dreams. And Tupac would definitely never want the music to change or the style. So we're gonna keep it the way he would like it.
Who killed Tupac and Biggie? You know, I think both of these dudes were assassinated in some kind of way. More Biggie than Tupac. I think Tupac might got killed by a dude that they you know, had an incident with earlier that day. But Biggie's seems a little
JFK.
Governmental to me.
Surprisingly, Suge also believes that Diddy is a victim who was groomed by record executives. As the saying goes, the abused become the abuser.
Your perspective, though, you actually spend time with Diddy. When you used to go to New York, you would spend time with him, and he would spend time with you. When he would come, you guys would go hang out together with obviously other peers. Did you notice anything around Diddy where you said, this is a little bit, you know, obviously there's a woman, you're having a good time, you're partying, you're doing your thing, but did you ever see anything where it was out of line, where you said, I think this guy likes men, or I think he likes certain things that's a little weird?
Well, all due respect to Puffy, you gotta realize one thing. He didn't start off like that. I'm quite sure somebody taught him that, and that's more deep in the industry. You guys who got involved with a lot of people who was their mentors, instead of having guys that mentor your own father, they was having these guys that mentor. And when that happens in the industry, it was done to them, they do to the next person. So I felt that Puffy was a regular, normal guy. And then when he started hanging with the guys in the industry, they did things to him, and then allegedly he did things to Usher. It goes on and on. But we got to stop this pointing the finger at the person who gets caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Where did it start from? But see, people don't want to touch on those angles that they started being the major executives who run these labels. So you guys want to speak on the people who got thrown under the bus, the sacrifice lamb.
Okay, well, that's actually very insightful for you to give that perspective. So if you're saying what Diddy did to Usher or what Diddy did to Bieber, that we've seen these videos, not necessarily what he did, but the stories where he's living with them at 13. If he was their mentor, who was Diddy's mentor? We know some of the big names. I'm just curious if you have any names. You don't seem like somebody...
Well, for number one was Clyde Davis. And you got to understand one thing. If Death Row, when I started Death Row, you got to remember one thing. I didn't have no co-founder, nobody else. So I started that company on my own and grabbed Dr. Dre. At the end of the day, it was like this. When you have, say Universal is one big company. Doug Morris is the man at the time. Jimmy Iovine's in. If Doug Morris give Puffy a deal worth a whole lot of money, and the album been recouped, other words, basically like flop been recouped, they're not going to give you no new money if they don't recoup the old money. But Puffy was able to go to the same umbrella and go to Jimmy and get just as much, even bigger check that Doug gave him, even though it have not recouped. Only certain people can get these type of favors. Now, in my situation, I didn't do anything to lose my company. I didn't do anything illegal to get my company taken away from me. they was able to commit fraud to my company, but it ends up to the hands of the people who want to buy my company for $500 million, $700 million. I kept saying no, and then turn around, they can get block everybody and end up getting it for what, 20 or 30 million, which is crazy. If you add all that type of stuff up, and you'll see how the industry been built on the secret rooms. The people who don't participate in the secret room is the people who later on get burnt. The people who participate in those rooms, they continue to grow. And even when they get caught, they're not really caught. Because obviously, Puffy knew they was coming to the raid. The security wasn't there. He used to have like 4, 6 Muslim guys doing security. They wasn't there. A lot of people wasn't there. How do people know all these things? It wasn't just coincidence, you know? So it's easy to point the finger, but let's look at the whole thing and talk about somewhere you're going to end.
Combs, as having been involved in the conspiracy, also wrote that a bounty was offered for Suge Knight's murder. This is you. And then later on, Kading alleged that Knight hired Wardell Pucci Faust to kill Biggie, Sean Combs' most valuable star, whose murder was done following a party at a Peterson Automotive. You know, that big party, you guys were all there. And then Pucci later survived a murder attempt. But the point here is, with the Biggie story, I followed the Tupac story closely. Do you, for a fact, know who killed Biggie?
Well, one, I can know who killed Biggie, I just don't know. But the thing about this, it was a real sad day, not just for Biggie, but for his family, but for the culture of hip-hop. I think that destroyed hip-hop with those 2 murders. And unfortunately, I was incarcerated. I was in the county jail. And I don't know who was having a party, where they was having a party, or who party it was. But like I said, I don't like to speculate, so I'm not going to ask guess that I just don't know. And at the same time, it's a rival. But shit, all that I can say is a sad situation, and there's been a lot of different people they say was involved in that. But how would they know where Biggie at to do something to him? I don't think no one person can just say, oh, I can only go do this and get away with it. That sounds real crazy. But who knows? But I know one good thing about it. One day the truth will come out. And the great thing about it, neither one of the murders had anything to do with me. One of the murders, I got a bullet itched in my skull, and I lost millions and millions of dollars, and eventually my freedom and my company by them saying I'm the one who had Tupac killed. Then it came to the Biggie story. When it came to the Biggie situation, now I was in the county jail, but after that happened, it was me from the county jail.
But maybe let me ask another question. What do you think about the speculation, the fact that Diddy had some ties to what happened to Biggie? Do you have anything to speculate there, or not at all?
Well, the thing about that, I also heard that. I also heard everybody say, and I think it was a guy, I didn't hear it personally, but it's been all over the internet, his bodyguard said that he had something to do with it. And I've never, like I said, me and Puffy is nowhere near friends. The respect for him was left a long time ago. But at the same time, it's a bad man. I don't give a fuck if it's me, him, you. Anytime you think you can play God and take somebody's life, that's a fucked up thing. I might be a lot of shit. One, it ain't smart being stupid, so I'm not stupid. 2, I don't got that type of nuts. You want to see another man lose his life and see this. You know, when you go to funerals and you see what the mothers go through, the family go through, I wouldn't want to see no one go through that. So it'd be crazy if somebody knew. It's just a fucked up thing. And I can't say Puffy did it and Puffy didn't do it. I can't say the cops did this and the cops didn't do it. But what I could say 1,000%, I ain't had to do nothing but shit. And I'm not saying to clear my name and all that shit, because My name is already what it is. And the best person I want to understand me is God. And if you know the people that love me, because I love them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you look at it, and it's a situation where I think it messes hip hop up. It makes the culture, the people up. It kept the thing. And when I lost Tupac, it was a long time before I really listened to a lot of Pac music. I think I thought about it, I think about him all the time. I still do today. And sometimes when I hear somebody say negative things about Pac, I get more mad when they say negative things about Pac before they say negative things about me. Because I'm here. You got something to say about me, and I'm gone, bless you. You know, but yeah, man, tell your life, tell your story. We still will never be the same without Tupac and Biggie. And I'm gonna end it here because I knew Pac and Biggie loved each other. When I was in a hotel, and me and Pac in a hotel, and he talking to Biggie before Pac passed away, he wasn't mad at Biggie like, I hate this motherfucker. He was more hurt because he felt that Biggie had something to do with the shit in the studio in New York. And they was talking, I could tell it was two men that cared about each other. And you know me, I'm thinking about making history again. I'm like, man, y'all see, it seems like y'all love each other. With me hating love relationship, I said the best way to end all this is do a 4 CD disc on Death Row. A song with Biggie do a CD, Pac do a CD, and the other two, both of them going back and forth. They took in pockets into, you know, let us say what they say. But yeah, that would have been the most incredible thing in the world. Only person, nobody gained on Tupac leaving and Biggie leaving. Only some jealous, nothing, weird motherfuckers. Everybody else can still take that loss today.
Yeah, that was obvious.
If Biggie wouldn't have passed away, Puffy would have never been a rapper. So he gained out the situation. I'm not saying he had something to do with it, but he gained out the situation. I lost my freedom behind Tupac dying. I lost business. I lost house, a whole lot of shit. I lost my freedom. 95% of the reason why I got sent to the penitentiary is behind the Tupac shit. Even on this case. They brought it up in this case. And they're wrong with me. But I really appreciate your time. And I would say this no matter what. Nobody would be more happier to see all this truth come to an end and the truth come out and we can move on and we can all heal. It's been a long time for Pac, it's been a long time for Biggie, and somebody knows something.
Suge, back in not 15 years ago, it's got to be a while back, a couple times I met you. One time it was through a friend named Jay King, and the other time was on a flight from Burbank to Vegas. You were sitting right next to me, and we're talking years and years ago.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I just want to say thanks for making the time to jump on here and have this conversation. Appreciate you, and hopefully we'll do it again sometime in the future.
Well, I'm going to say this. I appreciate you. You're the best. Enjoy your show. And I'm doing my own little collect call, you know. And I finally got my Twitter back. I know you good friends with everybody. So you let Elon Musk know that these guys had jacked my Twitter, my official Twitter, and was putting all kind of negative stuff about all these people, and then tried to distort me to get it back, and then keep steady trying to harass me about it. So, as most people say, as my mother was...
It might seem like Suge is singing a different tune right now, but I believe it's just bait. He's likely signaling to the feds to cut a deal so he can get out. That's the only way he'll reveal more than necessary. However, I'm not sure if the feds will bite judging by the tapes and lawsuit allegations. They probably already have enough on their hands.
And as we arrived, we were driving, everything was all right. We didn't know where we were going to, we just know the party was over, we were leaving. And as we were driving, in my car, I heard shots ring out. And at first, I just thought it was somebody shooting in the air. And just human reaction, I immediately ducked down. Everybody in my car ducked down. And then I heard somebody yell, you know, they shot at Biggie's car. And then I just jumped out of my car and I ran directly to his car. And like all the doors were open. And, you know, he was hunched over. And I was just there, I was talking to him. And the security officer that was driving my vehicle, I told him to just jump in his vehicle, let's just try to rush him to the hospital. And that's what we did.
Do you remember the last thing that you said to him or he said to you?
Yeah. I mean, he was just basically saying like he couldn't wait for his album to come out. That, you know, he was just happy that he had finished it. And, he was just like, I just can't wait till my album comes out. And he just felt that when the album came out, it was going to clear up a lot of stuff because over the past 2 years, people have been talking about him in records. There had been so-called controversy, and he had wanted to represent on his album of not even going in and feeding in towards that negativity. And he felt proud that he didn't do that. And he also did a tribute record to California called Going Back to Cali. And he had just felt that, you know, once the album came out, a lot of fans would understand that, you know, that he wasn't on that BS, and he was just trying to make good music and represent for everybody as a whole, internationally, East, West, Europe, Africa, wherever they was from that wanted to listen to his music and wanted to feel his point of view. He just wanted to accept them, and he wanted them to accept him.
We've heard a lot of different theories on what happened. One of the theories the police are working on now is a money conflict with someone out in Los Angeles. What's your theory?
I know that's completely not true. Biggie didn't have no money conflicts with anybody. And as far as my theory, it would be inadequate for me to speculate. I would just be like everybody else to speculate on who did this or why it was done. I mean, one thing I do know is that it was evil, it was ignorant, and it hurts, you know.
God messed up Big legs where he couldn't walk. Big could barely walk. He had to use a cane. They was pushing him around in a wheelchair. He walked that night because he didn't want the fans to know, but it was killing him. Clark Kent, the vice president of Motown at the time, told him, why you going to that party? Don't go to that party. He said, no, Puff and D-Rock set this up. That same night he on the phone with Heather Hunter and Janet Jackson supposed to come to the room and do you? And you let somebody talk you out of that? God messed up his legs. That was his out. Clark Kent told him not to go. That was his out. Told him not to go. That was his out. Ain't nothing Gene Deal could have said to that boy to stop him from going to the party, because the devil had already planted seeds.